I can't believe it's time to pick my last TBR of 2025. It's time for my December TBR, so I'm gonna pick 5 prompts from the TBR prompt jar and pair them with books that are on my bookshelves on my physical TBR. So let's see what the first book going on my December TBR will be. Prompt number 1, title starts with A. Since it is the end of the year, I feel like I'm in the mood to wrap things up. So my go-to for this TBR, if possible, would probably be continuing and or finishing series that I'm in the middle of. But for a title that starts with A, there's nothing coming to mind right away with that one, so I'm gonna have to look. I tried to look through pretty much every book on my bookshelf and I found 3 that I haven't read that start with A. The first 2 are both romance. After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about a couple who's struggling in their marriage and they decide to take a year-long break in the hopes of falling in love again. And during that year, their one rule is that they can't contact each other at all. So that's very interesting. It makes you wonder if the couple is gonna get back together after the year has passed or if they're gonna spend that year moving on. The other romance is The American Roommate Experiment. This one is about a woman who's a romance writer and she's in a slump and ends up being roommates with her friend's cousin. He's only supposed to stay there for 6 weeks, but during that time he offers to take our main character on a bunch of dates to inspire her in her romance writing. So we'll see what happens after the time is up. If they fall in love, will he end up staying? I don't know. Both of these are the first ones I saw for a title starting with A, and then I saw A Court of Silver Flames. This is so long. It's over 700 pages, whereas both of the romance ones are somewhere between 300 and 400 pages. But I did say I want to finish series, and I've been meaning to get to this one for a while. I tried to read this a couple of years ago, loved the whole ACOTAR series, but when I read this, I didn't realize it'd be from a different perspective. And so I wasn't as into the story just because I didn't have the right expectations going into it. And I kind of knew that it was well written and that if I removed myself from reading it, kind of soft DNF it, and came back to it later, that I think I'd really like it. And it's been a while, so the question is now the time for me to finish the ACOTAR series? Not that it's actually finished, because I do believe Sarah J. Maas is writing the next book in this series right now, but I'd be finishing what's been published so far. Alright, I did say I want to finish series. With the year wrapping up, it makes sense to wrap up series. So my first pick, title starts with A Court of Silver Flames. That one is so long though. All 3 of those options have been on my TBR for a long time, so any of them would have been good. Prompt number 2 is a book I don't know much about. I recently got a bunch of new books. A lot of them I kind of know the general premise of. I read enough to know I'll be interested. I did look into the books, but I feel like there are some books on my bookshelf that I just don't know a ton about. I kind of know the vibes, but I'm kind of just trusting that I've heard a lot of good things about those books. So, book I don't know much about. I'll pick out some options and then we'll see. I do feel like for this prompt, there's no way I can really continue a series because I've already read the first book, so I at least have a general idea of what the next one will be about. So this will either be starting a new series or a standalone. But let's look. The one really jumping out to me on my bookshelf that I don't know a lot about, I actually just won this book in a Goodreads giveaway. So I obviously read the blurb, was interested, entered the giveaway. Between reading the blurb, entering the giveaway, and by the time the book actually arrived in the mail a month or 2 later, I've kind of forgotten what it's about. And that book is House of Dragons. Along with the book, they did send me some cute little mail. So there's this cute character art, this little card with a dragon on it. Both of these say House of Dragons on the back. It's about some sort of tournament dragons, there's fae, a training program, bargains, romance. But beyond those basic tropes, I just don't know a lot. I do think that the character art is super cute though. Here's a close-up of it. So I am interested in reading this. I've actually been using this as a bookmark for a lot of the other books I've been reading recently, just because it's so cute. So I want to read House of Dragons. I feel like that's a good fit for prompt number 2, book I don't know much about. So far that's 2 fantasy books, both about fae. Let's see what prompt number 3 will be. Maybe the same, maybe something different. Water on the cover. That's kind of fun. My gut reaction is that that would be some sort of beachy book, some sort of summery romance, which is not what I particularly am wanting to read since it's Thanksgiving, Christmas time, the holiday season. I don't necessarily want a summery book, but let's look. There could be water and other portrayals besides a body of water. This will be fun to look through my books. Shift is book 2 in the Silo series. I just read Wool, which was the first book, and loved it. Gave that 5 stars. I'm borrowing this from the library right now. It doesn't have water necessarily on it, but it does have ice. And ice is a form of water. I will look at other books on my bookshelf, but I feel like this could fit that prompt. Let's keep looking. I want to see what my other options are. I grabbed Beach Read by Emily Henry, but this doesn't even have water on it. I would think it has beach in the title, there would be a body of water, but not on the cover. I pulled out so many covers and none of them have water on them. I did find a couple others, one being H2O, which literally means water, and it doesn't even have kind of traditional water on it, but it has these cutouts of where this acid rain supposedly hit the book. Since these green blotches are rain, it is technically water. And then I grabbed We Were Liars, which does have your traditional body of water on the cover. This is a short book, but it's young adult. I don't know that I'm in the mood to read this. It's set during the summertime, which, like I said, I assumed a lot of the books with water on the cover would be set during that time. So, gut reaction, I don't want to read We Were Liars right now. H2O, dystopian book. Only 0.27% of the population has survived against this acid rain. They're running out of drinkable water. This is young adult too, but it sounds more interesting to me. Ooh, that's kind of cool. When you open up the cover, the first page is written in the shape of a raindrop. I remember writing poems like that in grade school for school assignments. That's so fun. I love that. But do I want to start a new series or continue what I'm in the middle of? I know it's not liquid water, but guys, ice, that's water. I'm picking Shift for my 3rd prompt. I tried to look at some other options, but this book is just calling my name. This is a prequel, I believe, to Wool. I don't know if it also has events after the book in terms of timeline. It's kind of interesting because the 3rd book is definitely the sequel to the 1st book. So it's interesting that the prequel, you read that in the middle. But that should give answers to why the silo was formed. This whole series is about these people who are told the outside is not survivable and they live in this underground silo that they can't leave. So this is a sci-fi book. Prompt 3, water on the cover. I'm picking Shift. I really did try to find some other options, but I'm just not in the mood for these. Not as much. I honestly can't believe there weren't more books with water on the cover. That kind of surprised me. All right, prompt number 4. Let's see what it is. Yellow cover. So another prompt based on the cover. Yellow. I'm seeing 3 options here. All of these have yellow covers, and all of these are romance books. First is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I've never actually read a book by Emily Henry, but from what I've seen, everything recommends to start with Beach Read. I think maybe they're interconnected standalones. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the characters that are in this book might also be mentioned in her later books. I actually just got another Emily Henry book, funny story. I picked it up from a little free library. So I'm curious to read a book by her, and I guess this is where I should start. I don't actually know what it's about. Let's see, Augustus is an author, lit fic author. January is a romance author. Aw, this is cute. Okay, they're polar opposites. He writes lit fic, she writes romance. They have nothing in common, but they live in neighboring beach houses for the next few months, and they both have a writer's block. They make a deal to both write books in each other's genres to help them get out of their writing ruts. And while doing so, they're spending time together, helping each other with their writing, and trying not to fall in love. That sounds really cute. Even though this is a summery read, I mean, it has beach in the title. I wouldn't mind reading this right now. I know it's not technically the season for it, but that could be very cute. Our other two options, I have Birding with Benefits. There is more yellow on the spine and the back of this one, but I won this one in a Goodreads giveaway where these two people pair up in a bird watching competition and they end up becoming friends with benefits. Last option is The 7-Year Slip. This one's about love, but the timing not being right, specifically because the guy lives in the past and she lives in his future, 7 years apart. But when the girl's in her aunt's apartment, she's able to see this man. But presumably when she leaves the apartment, he can't come with her. That's very interesting. So which one do I want to read? I feel like these all sound interesting, but I do feel like I got the most excited reading the description for Beach Read. That one just stood out to me a little bit more than the others. So for prompt 4, yellow cover, I'm picking Beach Read by Emily Henry. Last prompt of the entire year. That's crazy. Okay. Oh, that's 2 prompts. I'll keep this one. That was tricky. That could have changed the fate of my entire December TBR. 3-word title. Okay, let's look. There are a lot of 3-word titles. This is gonna be tough. I feel like the other prompts, there were only a few options for each prompt. But this one, I have a lot of options. That kind of makes it harder. None of the series that I'm in the middle of will work for this, so it's gonna be something new. I did pick 2 books so far that are series I'm currently in the middle of, and 2 that are new books, either standalones or starting new series. But 3-word title, that'll also be something new. There are way too many options for this prompt, and these are just a few of the 3-word title books. We've already talked about some of these. Actually, maybe just one. We talked about Birding with Benefits. That's one option. Also got The Prison Healer. I've seen a lot about that one. That one's on my fall TBR. I recently bought that book. The Love Hypothesis. This is by Allie Hazelwood. I've read a couple books by her and I like them. So this is another romance. Soon by You. I won an arc of this romance from Goodreads. I know I keep saying I won a bunch of Goodreads giveaway books, and I have. It's very nice. This one comes out in May, so I have plenty of time to read this before it releases. Ready or Not. This one is about a surprise pregnancy. Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is a cowboy romance. All of these are very different vibes. Or are they? Are they different vibes, or are they all so similar that I can't distinguish? Most of these are romances. The only one that's not is The Prison Healer, which might have romance, but that's not the focus. There's this queen captured, and the 17-year-old girl has been working as a healer in this prison. This rebel queen is supposed to go through these trials for the most dangerous criminals, but this girl knows that the trials will kill the queen, So instead she volunteers to take her place in the hopes of winning freedom for herself and the queen. But no one's ever survived these trials. This is the start of a series. It's a trilogy, I believe. And there is romance. It's young adult. Or do I want a more traditional romance? I don't know. Why does romance feel like something I read more of in the summer or when it's warmer? And now that it's getting colder, I just don't really want to read romance. And I already put beach read on my December TBR. I feel like I'm not necessarily in the mood for more romance than just that. I like romance being in other books, but if it's sci-fi, dystopian, fantasy, that's more the vibe in the fall, the winter. Too many good options, but I can't read them all. Fifth pick, 3-word title, The Prison Healer. I'm just really indecisive today. I feel like it's tricky because with it being the end of the year, in my mind, I want to read every single book on my physical TBR and wrap up the year by finishing all the books I own, which is impossible. So it's making it very difficult for me to narrow down my choices. But these are the 5 books on my December TBR: The Prison Healer, Beach Read, Shift, House of Dragons, and A Court of Silver Flames. Thank you for picking with me. If you want to see me read these books, talk about more books, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.